Okay, we're going to do the return trip from Kentucky back to Western New York,
Papa,
Rochester, New
can I
York.
ride in the back with you?
And what we're going to do is we're going to change from Sport +1, which is on the pedal commander. We're going to change it to economy this time and see what that can do for us. So we'll change that to see what that does for our fuel economy. It's on economy now, and so we're going to see what the difference in fuel economy is there. I've got a grandson with me here, Eli, and then over there is my director of traffic, Sylvia. So we're getting ready to go on another 8, maybe 9 hours at the most in the saddle, and at least this time we'll report on improvements in gas mileage. Enjoy the ride. Well, I only got just started on the trip, and first thing that happens is I get a traffic jam due to road construction on the I-75 bridge in Cincinnati, Ohio. So that gave me about a 10-minute slowdown, but we can live with that. We can keep going. Let me hit briefly on my experience with Genius Maps. In my earlier video, I expressed just a concern how it took me on a strange detour, but that otherwise I liked it. What I have also found, though, is that the audio does not override music or other things we have playing through, in my case, the Pack Talk Bold. And so I switched to Google Maps near the end of the trip, and Google Maps would override it with no problems. On the Genius Maps, I did have the voice commands on its highest volume, so it should have overridden, but it didn't. So I'm a little frustrated with Genius Maps because you have to pay for it. Google Maps, you do not. The main reason for this video really is to talk, though, about gas mileage. And so I'm not going to bore you with a lot more shots of this. I do have another light test I want to show you that might be helpful for some people. But the bottom line is I made a decision to make a switch after about 128 miles. And so let me let you see how I made that decision. Okay, I've gone about 120 miles. My gas economy with in economy, instead of using the pedal commander, ability to increase the throttle touch, so to speak, is about 34 miles a gallon, which quite frankly is about 2 miles a gallon better than when I was in Sport +1. So I don't like the responsiveness or lack thereof of the economy mode. So even though maybe this isn't given it a full shot, full chance to prove itself, I'm not willing to give up the throttle response for 2 miles extra a gallon, at least at this point. So I'm going to switch it back to Sport +1 and continue the trip. But bottom line is, in this 120 mile test with, I did meet construction, did hit some construction that created some slowdowns and things like that. But generally speaking, I've been going 65 to 75 miles an hour most of the way. Again, 2 probably 10-minute, 15-minute detours and traffic slowdowns that put me in stop-and-go traffic, like I say, for 10-15 minutes on each of the stops. But I'm going to continue the trip, and just wanted to give you an idea of what my experience was when it comes to going to the economy mode. Enjoy the ride. Okay, to kind of close this out, the trip ended up being a total of 512 miles. It was 32.5 miles per gallon with a combination of economy, and then at 128 miles switching back to Sport +1. And then just in Sport +1, it was 32 miles a gallon. Again, it's not a really accurate test, but by the way, I was averaging 61 miles an hour when I was just in economy, and I was averaging 68 miles an hour when I switched to Sport +1. So in that test, it didn't make much of a difference. And quite frankly, my guess is it's not going to make that much of a difference. And you lose a lot of throttle response in economy. Maybe that's fine for tooling around your villages and your cities and things like that. But when you need to get past a car quickly and things like that,
you don't want to have to crank down on the throttle in order to get it to respond. So I'm a big proponent of pedal commander. I think it makes a big difference, and I don't think it's making a huge impact on gas mileage. That's my perspective. Some more tests and maybe some more longer test in economy might be helpful, but I just don't want to give up the throttle response to get a couple miles extra per gallon. That's my viewpoint. Um, Something for you to consider. Before I go into the light comparison, it's probably a good idea for me to show you what my setup is. So this is a video that I took after I got home. There's a little bit of water on the lens, which I didn't realize, but at least you'll get an idea how my bike is set up. I do have some additional lights put on. I have that lower in the grill light in there, so that's an add-on light. And then I also have the lights on the fenders. The amber lights are add-ons as well. So those show up really nicely when it comes to turning and things like that. It's just not that front light in there. And so I've got the blinker turned down right over here, so you can basically see how that lights up and makes it look quite a bit more visible, especially at night for people to see. So that's the light setup I have. Right now that's in the dim lights, and I'm going to switch it to the high beams and let you just see that. Again, I apologize for the little bit of water on the lens that makes it a little bit harder to see, but that's now with the high beams and that blinking. So that's the light setup I have. Now let me show you how it shows up on the highway when it comes to lighting.